Welcome to Screentime, everybody. It's movies, streaming, and everything in between. Gary Tanguay and Drew Yanno. And today we get to talk about movies the way it used to be.
A movie.
A movie. Just a good old-fashioned, 90-minute, 2-hour movie. Feel good, root for somebody, cheer for somebody in the end, and it is Air. Directed by Ben Affleck, of course, starring Matt Damon as Sonny Vaccaro. It is about the boom of Nike and its relationship with Michael Jordan. And I got to tell you, Drew, there's a lot of anticipation with this. A lot of anticipation.
A lot of anticipation. I actually know people who went to the theater to see it, which is unusual. I don't hear that much unless you're 14 and you go to see the Marvel movies.
Right. I want to check right now, and I should have checked before. When the box office did okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Not bad for. I want to say
produced by Amazon Studios, I guess.
No, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think it is one of them. And then, but I think it did like 50 million or something like that, which isn't bad.
It's a good number because it couldn't have cost that much. A lot of interior scenes.
Yeah. Okay. Worldwide, 88 million. 51 domestic, 36 international, which is pretty good in this day and age.
This day and age, it's very good.
All right. So, again, directed by Affleck, who plays Phil Knight. Matt Damon plays Sonny Vaccaro, and if people aren't familiar with it, it's how Sonny Vaccaro, who was the development guy with Nike, and his job was to go out and get players that would sign with the shoe company. And at the point in time when we pick it up, Nike was, at the bottom. They went like 17 million or something. It was, when you had Converse and you had Adidas.
They were a running shoe company.
They were a running shoe company, right?
And people bought $1 billion.
They did $1 billion in running shoes. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's just they just weren't in other sports like they are now, and this is the beginning of it right here. I think it's an interesting story. Slice of life. The writer Alex Convery, it's his first. Well, it's not his first script. He had 2 other scripts on the blacklist, but the first script that got sold and made, and he got the idea watching The Last Dance, and it was like a 5-minute segment about how Sonny Vaccaro got Nike, got Michael Jordan to sign with Nike. And I knew of Sonny Vaccaro because I'm a big college basketball fan.
Sure.
Was even bigger back then, and everybody knew who Sonny Vaccaro was. He was Mr. AAU, right? He knew every basketball player in the country, so he knew Jordan was going to be good.
Started the 5-star, right?
Yeah. And the interesting thing, and they talk about it openly, is the writer got rewritten by Affleck, and you can see there's some good stuff in there. Not that Convery didn't write anything good; he's a good writer. But the beauty of it, and I'll give Affleck credit for this. Apparently, at the end, he said to the writer, "I'm going to give you sole credit. We're not going to arbitrate." A lot of people were involved, and there were a lot of people involved, more than even Affleck. I'm sure Damon weighed in, Jason Bateman weighed in, other people probably weighed in, and he said, "No, you're going to get sole credit," which is a great thing. It means a lot for a writer's career, but now everybody knows the story, so I don't know whether that actually will work to his favor. He didn't write the damn thing. You don't want that either. But in any event, that's an interesting story. I found myself feeling good while watching it. It was like opening a box of chocolate, it feels good. The next day, are you going to say, boy, I remember that box of chocolate? And I'm going to remember some of the funny lines, made me feel good. I love Affleck and Damon. So, I felt good. And Jason Bateman's one of my favorites. So I liked it. I don't think it's an Academy Award-winning film.
Right.
I don't.
This is the issue, I think, and the challenges that Affleck and Damon have. It was their first time they reunited since Good Will Hunting. And Good Will Hunting is arguably a top 5 movie of all time.
It's in the top 20 for sure.
Top 20 for sure. But if you sat around and had a debate and somebody had it in their top 5, we could argue about it. But Good Will Hunting is a tremendous movie.
Well, I'll tell you my personal experience with it. I went to see it I used to go to the movies by myself. I went to see it by myself in Framingham, Massachusetts. And I liked it so much, I thought about it for 2 days, and I went back after 2 days and saw it again.
Right. So it was
now, how often do you do that? And
Now, so
I got to
obviously,
see why this is so good. I had to go back to see why I thought it was so good.
so that's what Damon and Affleck have to compete with. They're competing with themselves
Hmm.
because people want to see the same thing. So if we're comparing this to Good Will Hunting is a great movie, in my opinion, one of the greatest efforts of all time. If you want to say top 20, top 10, whatever. This movie's good. It's good.
Right.
And I think one of the challenges that you have when you're doing a movie like this, because as we all know, Drew, as writers, I love to write fiction. I like to make stuff up. But now Hollywood wants everything based on a true story. If you did a documentary on this, the documentary may have been more compelling or
Maybe.
as compelling because you knew what was going to happen. You knew
You
that
know the ending.
you know the ending, and that's the challenge, right? Even when, and I don't think I'm giving anything away here because people know how it ends. Even when Vaccaro, Damon gets the call from David Falk, played by Chris Messina, that he's going to go with Adidas. It looks like Adidas. Or actually, Chris Tucker calls and says, it looks like it's going to be Adidas. You know something's going to give.
It has to, because we
You know
know
it's
Air Jordans.
so that's the challenge that a movie like this is up against.
Well, it's like Titanic. You know the ending. I think
Yeah.
what makes it interesting is we all just, you know how we assume things. So Air Jordans came out and everybody thought, oh, they're great. You don't think about how did Air Jordans come about? How hard was it for Nike to have gotten it? Oh, look, I'm a big sports fan. I didn't know at the time what happened. Probably didn't care either, but it's how it comes about which makes it interesting.
I
What
agree.
they had to go through.
I agree. And what I found there are 2 points that I found very interesting that I think makes the story compelling. Is Matthew Marr plays Peter Moore, the designer.
Yeah.
And I had heard, Drew, along the way about the fine, but I had forgotten all about it.
It was a great line in the movie.
It's a great line in the movie.
It's funny it comes from Strasser though, because he's the guy who said it. We'll just pay the fines.
Right. Right.
You know, it's not Knight, it's not even Vaccaro, who you would think would have thought of it.
No, it's Strasser who is played by Bateman.
Yeah.
And what happens is they come out with the design of the shoe, and 51% of the shoe in the NBA had to be white. All right. And they come out and they
I thought
don't.
it was even more. I thought it was like 75% or something.
Okay. And they don't, this was also good. They don't show the shoe until the very end,
Perfect.
which was great.
And they never show Michael Jordan.
And Affleck talked about that at length.
Yeah.
He said, we couldn't.
No,
There's no way. He goes,
it's not about him.
But also, who's going to play Michael Jordan?
Exactly.
You can't do it, right? So, I thought that was great when they came up with the shoe and the designer came up with the shoe. And also the designer said he was looking Air, what was it? Air, it was a running shoe. It was going to be Air something.
Mm.
It involved a running shoe and then he comes up with Air Jordan. And Damon said, I think Fox said that.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't give him credit. So how they came up with the name Air Jordan, how they came up with the shoe, and they were willing to pay the fine, $5,000 a game.
Yeah.
$5,000 a game. So I found that very interesting. I also found very interesting how when he's on the phone with Dolores, Michael Jordan's mother, I also found it interesting how she says, we want a cut of every shoe.
Yeah. Because
I had forgotten about that. Now, as you know,
I never knew about it. I never had any knowledge of that.
Well, if you take a look at what Michael Jordan is worth $2 billion, and it's not because of what he made in the NBA.
No.
It's because of what he made with Nike. Now, when I worked with Donnie Marshall doing the Celtics, he had told me about that, and I forgot all about it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he said, like when Ray Allen was part of the Jordan brand. Every shoe that Ray Allen sold, Michael Jordan got a cut.
Amazing.
And that was Dolores.
Worked out well for Nike, though.
It changed the game. I mean, as you saw at the end, you know, Phil Knight was hopeful that they'd sell 3 million. They sold 165 million in the first year.
Yeah, whatever it was.
So those points are very interesting. I wanted more. I'll get your opinion on this. I wanted a little more from Bateman. He won Strasser over, I think, a little too easily. At first he was great. He was like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. And then it kind of just happened everything
Yeah,
just
the
was a
snap
little,
of the fingers and he was in.
and he was in.
But
And
the best part of that was when he said, and he talked about visiting his daughter every Sunday.
right.
And I don't want to give up giving her the shoes, and I don't want to give up my job. So it better work. And then he was in at the same time. So and they kind of skated there. But that's the whole movie. It's a feel good movie. It's you're not going to be disappointed if you go see this movie. I guarantee it. You won't be disappointed. You're not going to think you just saw Casablanca or Chinatown or
No.
or even Good Will Hunting. You're not going to think that.
And the one thing I did like about Phil Knight, I thought the good line at the end was, he said to, Phil, why did you think about this, or why did you decide to go with it? He said, I went for a run, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes where the whole Nike mindset is. What did you think of Affleck's performance as Knight?
It's hard for him to play Phil Knight. Phil Knight isn't 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds, muscular, handsome guy. They made Affleck look less handsome. I'll give him that. It didn't bother me.
I thought
First of all, I was more bothered by David Falk, who's bald as a cucumber. And Chris Messina, look, he's a movie star. And, I love David Falk. He's a Syracuse grad. He was 2 years ahead of me at Syracuse.
Well, I agree with you. I met David Falk. He was Antoine Walker's agent.
Yeah.
And I remember when David Falk came in, and I didn't understand the Chris Messina thing. I mean, they could have gone with Rob Corddry, a local guy. And I'm a Messina fan, but like Rob Corddry, who hails from Weymouth, who's thin up top, would have been a great David Falk. They could have gone with other guys with that because he didn't look anything like him. I thought that Affleck's attempt at Phil Knight was noble. I thought he tried to play him a little mercurial, a little out there.
He is mercurial.
He is. And that's my point. And I thought that was good. And I thought he did a good job with it because I don't think Affleck recently gets enough credit for his acting.
Well, you know why? Because he's such a great director, and he's actually a great writer. I used to think everybody thought after Good Will Hunting, it's got to be Matt Damon. It's got to be the writer. No. And no offense to Damon. Damon's probably a very good writer. But
no, I mean, Affleck, you have said it. Affleck is one of the greatest writers and directors of our time, of his generation. Yeah, he
just gets it.
Yeah, he's up there.
Now, look, he's been in some bombs, but mostly as an actor, not as the writer.
Well, I appreciated Damon's attempt at Vaccaro. I mean, he gained weight.
Yeah. Sonny Vaccaro's an Italian guy. He don't look like an Italian guy.
Well, yeah. See, I didn't even think of that. But I think that Damon does a very good job later in life playing the everyday guy.
Stillwater.
This, I think he does a good job.
He's a damn good actor. He just is.
He's a very good actor. I liked Bateman. I like you said, we enjoyed it. It wasn't great. It's good. So we say go see it. Do you have anything else on it? I've talked a lot, Drew. You got anything else?
No, it's good. Happy to have you talk. It's just it's pretty much what you need to know. Go see it. You won't be disappointed, but don't expect,
Good Will Hunting. Most people say it's awesome. Well, I think we're the toughest ones. Most people say it's awesome. Like everybody.
They're awesome because there's very few things that get us excited. In streaming, how many times have you started streaming something and you got 3 episodes in and you never go back?
Right.
There's a lot of that. And the movies that are made, except for, Coda or something like that, you're like, nice attempt. And we've talked ad nauseum about how movies I think are dead. Scorsese and Spielberg, I'll never admit it, but they are. And so when you see one and it's good, you gotta, I guess that's why people are saying it. I mean, I think most couples, if you ask them, hey, honey, what do you want to do tonight? They don't want a movie. They want a streamer. They want more story. They want 8 episodes, 10 episodes. They don't want just 2 hours that at best they're going to turn off after an hour and try to watch the next day. They're not going to really do that.
I do think that this attempt by Damon and Affleck, though, and company, I think this is a movie couples could watch. I think
absolutely. That's the other thing.
It could set the standard to say for execs to think, okay, these guys did it. maybe we need to, you know, start making just really good movies again with good storytelling that a couple will sit down and watch. Like Randy and I'll watch it again. Randy will sit down and watch this for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, remember when you were in the box office, when you were in the theater and you needed to make box office, those people in the studios went for the target audience, which
Right.
was, you know, at first 14-year-old boys, which is ludicrous until Titanic. Then they realized 14-year-old girls were pretty excited about movies too. And so they just targeted. And now you don't have to target anymore because it's streaming. Streaming is middle-aged, older people, and young people. So, but probably more middle-aged. But
Well, I'll sit down and Van, my 17-year-old son, my wife, and I can all watch this movie
yeah,
and
absolutely.
enjoy it. So go see it, watch it with the family. Affleck's a terrific director. Damon's a great actor. Good job done by all. Air, it is on Amazon Prime. And for Giuliano, I'm Gary Tanguay.
Top five. We're gonna do our
Top five coming up. We're gonna do top 5 Damon and Affleck movies as actors.
Yeah, it doesn't. They both don't have to be in the same one. It's just
Well,
either one of them being in it.
Good Will Hunting's off the map, right?
Yeah, and except for Good Will Hunting, because that's the given.
That's going to be our top 5. For Giuliano and Gary Tanguay, this has been Screen Time, streaming movies and everything in between.